All right, ready?
Panago Pizza presents SCP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
And then, the big scary murderer with the big sharp knife entered the room. And everybody was tied up. The knife had blood on it.
Jesse, I don't like this.
Blue blood.
Don't touch me.
And the murderer said,
Don't touch me.
offer sheet. And all of Leaf Nation quivered in fear. But we can't talk about that first.
No?
No, we got to talk about game one of the what's that league? What do they call it?
NBA Finals. That's Thursday,
right.
silly.
Sorry. Right, the NHL, who took a summer vacation in the middle of spring.
Oh, my God.
Maybe they just needed their own March break.
Let me tell you. Last night, I went to hockey.
Gary Bettman went to Cabo.
And he went to Cabo.
Yeah, MTV Summer.
Last night, I went to hockey, and with a bunch of hockey fans trying to learn how to play hockey. There were like 30 of us or something like that. 20 or something.
Jealous.
And, yeah.
Notice we didn't get an invite?
If you guys are willing to come to Whitby, you are welcome to. Adam, you're not doing anything right now.
Yeah, what the hell?
Where's Whitby?
It's where we played the Easter Seals thing. So it's there. Can I tell the story?
Tell the story.
So and game one of the Stanley Cup Final was not brought up, even casually in conversation, until after the fact. Someone went, "Oh yeah, it's 2-1 Blues." I went, oh, right, the game's on.
Right.
I completely forgot, and then I went home and caught up and everything so I could make the video, the cup check video. But, dude, I feel like everyone forgot this damn thing was happening.
Yeah, it was almost as though...
check.
It was almost as though after a pretty good first 3 rounds, the NHL made a mistake.
I thought so.
And allowed people to realize they can do other things with their time other than watching hockey. How crazy is that? A little crazy.
It's a little bit crazy.
I don't know under what circumstances it made sense to start the finals when they did. But it is terrible and bad.
Well, and I saw some people say, like, what's the big deal? Like, the NHL always starts, I think it's like right after Memorial Day weekend or whatever it is, but like, it didn't have to.
Yeah, change.
It didn't have to this time. It ended earlier.
Now,
significantly earlier.
Something tells me it has to do with broadcast schedules, and
Probably.
I think Gary Bettman changes this next year faster than he changes his video review. This is more of a priority, I can guarantee you.
Fun business stuff that I love.
Yes.
I love to talk about. Hey, let's talk about the Coyotes moving for half an hour.
Let's not, thank God.
No,
we don't have to talk about that. They're not.
When in the show do we get to roast Steve for using a hockey bottle in real life? Can you take a look at what he's using to drink his water?
By the way,
I got the spout for my cage. It's for my cage so I can stick it in.
A real hockey player can aim it. Real hockey player can aim that spout. He doesn't need the spout.
And what am I?
You don't need the spout.
For anybody listening, can you describe?
Steve has one of those dumb spouts you put on a hockey water bottle. And, normally you just get the little squat one that looks like a small mushroom.
A regular-ass Gatorade bottle.
You know? Yeah. Steve's got the hose. And now he's...
And what am I?
Now he's covered himself in water.
Yeah, it's okay. It's not a long show or anything.
He hauled that thing all the way from Oshawa.
Hauled that thing.
And
yeah, I put it in a
Can you do that one
moving...
Can you do that one more time?
Okay, fine. All right, ready. I'm doing the show.
He's literally drenched himself twice now.
Wow, I'm a lot more wet than I thought I was.
That's a context quote we should definitely use. Hey, feel free to video clip that one and put it up every time Steve says something wrong. Now,
I'm just going to put on my Sportsnet jacket in this building.
You know that Crown Royal and the Steve Dangle Podcast have partnered up. And every single show, we have to announce our particular crown. Now, since the Leafs are out, you know that we have to continue on with the tradition. And hopefully next year at this time, we'll be talking about the Leafs. Last week we gave it to the Raptors and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And hey,
you gave it to yourself.
I gave it to myself.
And someone was upset.
And deservedly so.
Did you see that?
Yeah. Somebody actually tweeted me the meme, and you won't get this, Steve. You know the uncle from Game of Thrones from the last episode who tries to make himself king?
And Sansa's like, what the hell?
Uncle, sit down. that somebody was like, Adam Wilde, I give myself the crown, and then just a picture of that guy.
That's awesome.
Well, that was funny.
That's a good meme.
Yeah, it's amazing. No, but you can give your crown to anything, any sports performance that you've seen in the last week, specifically hockey, though, I think, in this particular case, unless it's not, that you think deserves a crown, and I am going to start again this week. The crown. I'm going to have to give the crown up.
You're going to have to... Wow.
I'm going to have to give the crown back.
Wow.
Because the crown belongs in Boston on one Torrey Krug.
You think it belongs on Torrey Krug?
Torrey Krug. For the guy who I've been praising all playoffs, even when we play in the Leafs.
Old-time hockey, Adam.
Torrey Krug turned that game around.
No,
What do you think?
Torrey Krug changed that game.
No, he didn't.
Torrey Krug woke Boston up. And guess what? The hit was clean.
I agree with you that the hit was clean. I don't know if he sprinkled that magic dust on the game and got the Bruins all woken up.
They were
all woke.
No, they weren't woke. That's for sure.
They were
I
not.
don't think the Bruins would consider themselves woke.
You know what? What's his name? Jack Edwards always says, "Don't woke the bear." He always says that.
Does he say don't wake the
while
bear?
smoking a giant blunt? Don't woke the bear. Jesse, who do you give the crown to?
I give the crown to Twitter.com
Oh,
for relentlessly always being Twitter.
what happened?
Relentlessly always being Twitter.
Because when Torrey Krug happened, Twitter went full Twitter.
Oof.
There were
Which is
people
great.
crying on both sides. Fair and unfair arguments.
Also, Twitter reminded me today that it's the 3rd anniversary of Harambe's death,
Oh,
Oh,
there you go.
wow.
and he's actually trending. He's one of the top trends in the
Well-
world right now. Sorry to interrupt.
Zippers down, everybody. Zippers down.
I would just like to reward Twitter with the crown for always being the place to be when anything goes completely awry and you want to see people overreact
Yes.
Place
to
to
something
be mad
that's
online.
Now,
completely irrelevant to the outcome of the game because Boston was going to win that game anyways because they were in control since after Pasternak gave it away horribly.
Stupidly.
It didn't even matter
Nope.
at that point because from that point on, it was on tilt entirely for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
And St. Louis had no chance. Friggin' 5 power plays, even though Boston only converted on 1.
On
You're
one.
still spending 10 minutes on the penalty kill.
at
They were never in that game after like the end, little towards the end of the first. They were never in that.
at risk of being Paul Pierce, is the series over?
You might regret that.
No.
I
No, it is
honestly
not.
think it's did I say Boston in 5 or 6? It's
don't
got to
know.
be Boston.
You said 5.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I
I think
think-
I said 7.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be. Like, I think what
No.
you saw in the second and third period is what this series is.
No.
Ooh.
I disagree.
Okay, what?
I disagree. Well, because
first off, your crown, and then
I
second.
give the crown, and well, they were late. Luckily, Cassidy, Bruce Cassidy. That is who gets the crown because I think he played the Blues like a fiddle.
Who Brian Burke
Ooh.
likes to call Butch Cassidy.
I almost did. That's why I said Cassidy.
He called him Butch
And
Cassidy?
he said he's like, anybody who corrects me on Butch, no, he's Butch to me. Sundance Kid, that's what we call him. I
Wow,
can't do
that
a
is
Brian Burke.
That
but,
is an old guy reference if I've ever
but
heard
he
one.
says he's Butch to him, and that's what he's going to keep calling him. So if you see it on the broadcast, it's going to keep happening.
We've been friends for a long time. He was having a barbecue at my house. We watched the moon landing together.
Also, does he deserve a shout out for being at the game last night?
Brian Burke.
Brian Burke, and then also being a Hockey Central in studio today.
Wow, was he?
Yeah.
That's pretty decent.
That's not bad.
I mean, let's also like Boston is a 90-minute flight. I
Sure.
think. Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
yes.
And
I will give
along
that to
the
him.
entire way, he called Bruce Cassidy Butch.
I give it to Butch Cassidy because I think he played the Blues like a fiddle. The Blues got out of the first, obviously, with the 1-0 lead, and that was fine. But the Bruins started to come on at the end. They drew those 2 penalties. The brain fart from Pasternak is a brain fart.
Yes.
That is... I was talking about this in my video today. There's a difference between your team getting outplayed and you doing something just stupid.
Right.
And he did something stupid there. So to me, that was separate. On the scoreboard, it might look like the Blues are dominating, but they were not. Then in that period, they outshot the Blues friggin' 8 14-3, and I think the penalties were 2-0 in the period.
I mean, like, this is my point, though.
No, but what were we talking about? The Bruins have 11 days off. There was that Chris Johnston tweet, the stat where the team with more rest heading into the Stanley Cup Final has lost 10 of the previous 13.
Wow.
So there was every reason to think that the Bruins would come out sloppy. What they did, they had a nice slow-paced, low event first period. There were 8 shots apiece. You're on pace for 24 shots each. It's nice and calm, nice and slow. One shift got away from you, and it got away from your top line, but you know that line is going to bring it. Mm-hmm. You know that line is going to recover. They're going to be fine. They did it against the Leafs. You expect those mistakes out of lines 2, 3, and 4. They didn't make those mistakes. So I thought Bruce Cassidy had a hell of a game. Now it's up to Coach of the Year candidate Craig Berube to adjust and answer back in Game 2.
You got to look at the way Boston does things, though. And we saw this in every single round. Not the City.
Oh, sorry.
Not the City during another parade.
Friggin'.
They are lethal.
How do you drive in Boston? There's always a parade.
That's true.
How do you get anywhere?
Oh, my God. I won again. Who cares? It's so funny. There's so many championships in Boston that people can afford to cheer for just one sport.
Right?
Like, when Pete was telling us about the fact that Celtics fans are not Bruins fans and vice versa, I was like, what?
Like,
what do you mean?
You can't get into Game 1 of the NBA Finals
in Toronto
for like less than, I think, $2,000.
Yeah,
or something like that. In Boston, they're all $50. Like, because what is it special? Like, we don't care.
I think it would only be special for the Celtics because of all the teams, they've won the least championships in the last 20 years.
Oh my God.
Or well, I guess tied with the Bruins, I think.
Well, the Bruins have the one.
They have the one. I think the Celtics have the one in 2008, Jesse? The Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett?
Yeah, that's 2008.
And that was it.
Forgot about that.
Anything is possible.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. I thought it'd been longer.
So, yeah, though, I mean, these two teams, you could argue, the Bruins and the Celtics need to pick up their bootstraps a little bit here.
Whoa.
You know, like, we've got a high bar here in Boston, and you got to... But you look at the way you were talking about it right there. This is why I think Boston can do this, and they can do it quickly. They are so lethally effective when they need to be. They're so... We need to do this. Okay, it's done. With the Leafs, it was like, it might take us a period to get it done. But they got it done throughout the series, or the season, because they're very, very talented. St. Louis is a team that I don't think is... I think that the Blues were far better than they showed in the first half, obviously, and maybe outplayed what they were in the second half. Can both be true?
I think so.
Are they the number one team in the NHL? I don't think so. But I think that they are one of the deepest teams in the NHL with a good goalie.
I thought they were the number one team in the West.
Sure. Okay.
That's fair.
Okay.
So I think, they deserve to be where they are.
I agree with that. My point in this is Boston's been doing this for years. Mm-hmm. It's been since months, bro.
Well,
they've done it. And they've done it for a long time. That's an old one. They've done it a long, long time, whereas the Blues are sort of, even though you got a team of vets, Boston has those guys that have been together for a long time. 2-3 years is a long time. It's eons in NHL terms. Boston's got new guys. O'Reilly, Bozak. They've got a team, a core that's been there too, but never to this level and never like what the Bruins have done. And I don't know that St. Louis is as quick to solve their own problems as Boston is. Does that make sense?
Yes. I think the Bruins need to be commended because it sort of reminds me of like MMA training where they make you run around the friggin' earth and do a bunch of jumping jacks. And now that you're tired and exhausted, now we're gonna kick and punch stuff. So the Bruins have been down, with the exception of the Hurricane series that was a unicorn. They were down, I want to say, they were down 2-1 to the Blue Jackets. They were down 2-1 and 3-2 to the Leafs. Being down 2-0 in a game is nothing to them. I think I saw it was like the first multi-goal comeback they've ever had in the Stanley Cup Final. But like, talk about a small sample size. Like, how many times have they been to the Stanley Cup Final since, I'll bring it back again, the moon landing? Not a ton, right? And there was 2013, 2011, and then prior to that, you're going
70s
to not everyone has a color TV.
Yeah.
You know?
What do you mean, with the Bruins?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last time was with against the Penguins in '91.
They had one in the early '90s. It's a small sample size, guys. And also, well, I was about to say no one scored back then. No, that was the end of the everyone scores era.
Right.
They just been there, and they know how to deal with it.
And one of the interesting things about last night was that it wasn't even the top guys who showed up. Like, the first two lines weren't even that good. It was Sean Corrali.
Corrali was great, dude. And Achari.
Who's the one who's scoring all night. And outside of Marchand scoring the empty netter, the first two lines have no points.
Can I talk about how much it eats my soul that Charlie Coyle was effective and is effective and has been effective?
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle?
Yeah.
Why him?
Well, he was effective against the Leafs. And I saw him as like, well, what a dumb...
He was all right.
I was like, what a dumb pickup when Boston made the trade. I think it's myself. I was like, that's just another guy. Here's another... when they do like line things and like star, guy, star, guy.
Yeah.
To me, he's guy, except he hasn't been.
No,
I think
Charlie
he's been
Coyle's
above
not guy. Dmitry Filipovich said this a long time ago, and it's still true. Identify who the bad GMs are and call them all the time. And word got out very quickly, and the Bruins were one of the first teams to jump on it, that Paul Fenton has lost his damn mind. And they got Coyle out of Minnesota. I don't remember the trade being very expensive.
It was like a third rounder, maybe, max.
And, man, hell of a player. Hell of a player for them. So the Blues, I mean, the game plan seems pretty simple. Like, I'm having a hard time judging them based on this game because I feel like we didn't see them. There were two players, if I'm not mistaken, two forwards, who played over 18 minutes because they just got away from their game plan so badly by being in the box so much. And the penalties were 5-2. It should have been worse.
Yeah.
It should have been worse because that Krejci penalty wasn't a penalty. Yeah, okay, the Krug one should have been a charge. All right, swap the two.
Then they cancel each other out.
You just got to be more disciplined. That doesn't mean give the Bruins all the space in the world, but... you got it. You have to at least play as much even strength as them.
If St. Louis is going to win this series, you have to think that, barring some fucking miracle, Game 2 is huge. They have to have a split.
Bennington was wonderful.
So what do they do?
That's super encouraging for them. You can stay out of the freaking box. Your top line did great. They got you 2 goals, even though one of them was a bit of a fluke.
You take the flukes.
Yeah, you take the flukes.
And good teams get flukes.
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like I want to say the Blues' depth defensemen were out there in situations where they usually wouldn't have been because they ride 3 guys so hard on the penalty kill. Parayko played over 26.
Imagine
Pietrangelo played over 25. Bouwmeester, who's like an old guy, he played over 24. And then they don't really go to the other 3 very often. And
Carl Gunnarsson's among them, isn't he?
Bertuzzo and Gunnarsson were out there for one of those goals.
Gunnarsson played 12 minutes. Edmondson 14.
Edmondson was the other one.
Bertuzzo 11 minutes.
Wow.
There you go.
Yeah, so you'd have to look at a game sheet from like the Shark series to know like what their usual deployment is because like that's highly unusual.
Carl Gunnarsson is still a Blue.
And like not a great one.
Well, not a great one, no.
He's
there.
Frankly surprised he's still in the league because when the Leafs traded him, he was damaged goods. And that was
4 years ago?
They traded him at the Philly draft in 2014.
5 years ago?
5 years ago.
Wow.
5 years ago with the hip issue, and he's still in the league on a team with a pretty good defense. Maybe that's why.
Jeez.
Because he's sheltered. I don't know if... So Vince Dunn apparently might play next game. I don't know who would usually come out of the lineup for the Blues. I'd imagine him. And I mean, if they get him back, it's a pretty big boost for that. I'm not going to write the Blues off after one game where they took 5 penalties. How many more times... What's the record for amount of times a team has taken 5 minors in the Stanley Cup Final? How do you even do that?
And won the game.
Yeah, and won the game. Like how many?
You have to be. It has to be obnoxious because they don't call anything.
They don't call anything except for I don't know. That was a very strange game.
It was a regular season game call. It seemed anyway.
So not only have the refs not called a game, some of them for like 2 weeks now, they don't have the crew I think they want because isn't someone missing Isn't Wes McCauley out or something like that?
You know, Steve, I
'Cause
love
he's
you,
got a-
but I have not been following the refs close enough to know that.
No, that was the story. Wes McCauley, he's out with like a quad injury.
Oh, is he?
Yeah. He's out with, and it's something I never think of. I never think of, like, these guys are bombing up and down the ice all game, and, like, they don't get shifts. So they must get exhausted, and they must get, like, injured groins, injured ankles, stuff like that, and they're in their 50s.
Oh, listen, I'm glad you know that, but like, there's no way that I'd be following close enough for it to know that.
You know what?
Especially given what's happening.
If you don't think it's important, ask the Blues.
I'm sure it
Ask
is
Blues
important to them.
fans how they feel about that right now.
You know, what do they call it? Scouting the refs is a good follow on Twitter because they're
a great follow.
Every screw up that San Jose was involved in, I believe that team of refs for that particular series was gone. They never refed again another game. Mm-hmm. So that meant Vegas. That meant who was the second round again? It was
Colorado.
Colorado. Those two gone. Like those refs are gone. So
It's like 4 guys.
Yeah, and you never hear anything about the refs, but when you see it put out to you like that, when you see it in that, you go, wow, these guys really are like punished. Like,
Well, and
because they get bonuses too based on the rounds they ref into.
oh yeah. Because I guess they don't get paid, right, for the games they're not working.
Well, I think they get paid for the
or
season.
it's like a bonus
Yeah.
or something like that. What I think is really interesting about that website is when they post a team's record with that official
Yeah,
in the
very
game.
interesting,
Because there's one guy, I don't even remember who it is right now, who the Bruins record with this guy is like, it's like 15-1.
Well, the Bruins are also
something.
good.
The Bruins are also good, but 15-1 is really, really good. And these guys, we saw with the Wes McCauley, Mitch Marner clip, well, I like ice cream too. They're talking, they banter, and they develop professional friendships. Don't think that doesn't happen.
Well, it's like with broadcasters. The same thing happens. We talk about it all the time.
Oh, totally.
We've seen it. Guys that maybe under certain circumstances shouldn't they can be friends. You can be friends. I don't care if a broadcaster is a friend with a player, but there are certain circumstances where players got to be a player, broadcasters got to be a broadcaster, right?
You're referring to Pierre Patton Bums?
Wow, couldn't be. Couldn't be. And the fact that later on poor Kyle Bukauskas gets raked over the coals for whatever that was.
For nothing.
Nothing.
For nothing. Hilarious.
That was hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious. So, I think basically we've kind of hit everything on that game. I don't know what else, unless somebody wants to go toe to toe about Torrey Krug. I think that
No.
hit. I think that was if you slow it down. I understand people saying it's a charge, but he glided for a while.
He was going incredibly fast. That's why people thought it was a charge.
Because he is incredibly fast.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, when you slow it down, and I hate the super slow-mo, but in these particular cases, it does kind of work in your favor. The actual point of impact, the picture everybody's seeing is both of them falling down together. The point of impact, Torrey Krug's skates are squarely on the ice.
Yeah, I wonder if video games sort of screw up people's perception of hits, because when I lay a hit, I'm always standing right on my skates and don't go anywhere.
Because the game will call you.
Yeah. But I don't fall over because of momentum and just physics.
Of course,
and
yeah.
all that. Oh, he left his feet. Well, yeah. He fell.
You're always like that famous Muhammad Ali shot where he hits it's like
Yeah,
Joe
and I'm
Frazier or
like,
something. Yeah.
standing over them. It's not how it works. You go flying. You're going so fast, and you're hitting someone who's your size or bigger. In Torrey Krug's case, usually bigger.
Usually bigger.
You're gonna fall. Your skates are gonna come up. That's how it works. It's when they jump and they go like straight up and stuff. That's different. That's not what happened here.
Is anybody and by the way, I should wrap this up by saying, hey, next time you watch Game 2, let's say, maybe enjoy a Crown Royal with that.
Yeah.
Just drink responsibly.
If you want to crown yourself, crown your ass.
If you want to crown, then crown them. If you want to crown them, but they are who we thought they were.
Let's not.
Let's not. Is anybody having more fun in their off season than PK Subban?
But like as opposed to what?
Well, I think he's having more fun than he would be than if he was in the finals. And he might not agree with that, but I think he's having more fun.
I like he's having fun with his best friend, Mitch Marner.
Were they hanging out?
From the Red Bull discussion.
He's at an F1 race hanging out with Niki Lauda. and he and Lindsey Vonn look like they're super happy, and I'm like, dude, this is the summer of PK, and he might get traded, which is wild.
And he posts everything.
Yeah,
I think part of the reason we know he's having a great time is he posts everything.
I think he posts everything because he is having a great time. He's got things to post.
Maybe.
Like, what am I gonna post a selfie with me and my dogs? No one wants to see that shit.
It's funny.
do.
Yeah, he looks...
Well, I mean, not all the time. Like, PK does something every day that you go, wow, if I had that happen to me once in my lifetime, that would be cool.
He was kissing Jerry Jones on the cheek.
Yeah,
And
Jerry
who would
Jones
do that?
kissed him back.
Yeah.
And who would? You know?
Well, there might be a few people.
Hello there, Steve.
What are you... Sure. I was just thinking of the South Park episode. No, so something occurred to me the other day.
Shook Robert Kraft's hand? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Game... Where was it? Game 4. Mm-hmm. Raps Bucks. It was in Toronto.
Yep.
And I was amazed how many celebrities were there. Like, non-Canadian celebrities. Here's Jerry D. and Dallas Green, and Americans watch it. Like, that didn't make the American broadcast. They don't know who that...
Yeah.
No, they don't know. But, like, Terrell Owens was there.
Yeah.
I was like, what is Terrell Owens doing in Toronto? That's amazing. And then I saw he was at Game 5 in Milwaukee. And I thought to myself, foolishly, Terrell Owens flew from Toronto to go to Milwaukee to see a game? And then it occurred to me, Steven, he's rich. That's what rich people do.
Yeah.
PK Subban is rich. So guess what? He'll go to a game this day, Formula One race the next, and maybe he'll be on a yacht the next day.
Now, what if...
Who doesn't like a good yacht? He loves to go yachting.
He's got his yacht shoes.
He gets one of those slides and slides right off the yacht. You ever seen that show Below Deck?
No.
Oh, it's about this crew on a yacht. And they just have a great time, and it's about running a yacht.
I have a question. What if PK goes to a game and another Nashville Predator's at the game, but they don't sit together?
Well, I assume they have a blood feud and will be dueling with shivs after the game.
On a yacht?
No.
No.
There's no...
That's where good duels happen on a yacht, right? Because
With
there's no
shivs?
escape. Well, there's no escape.
Yeah,
There has to be one winner.
That probably is, yeah, and if PK keeps posting, you'll know he won.
Good point.
But whatever
Good
happened
point.
to the other Weber that Nashville has? You know, not Shea, but there they have another one. They just
Yannick.
Yeah, that one.
That guy.
Yeah, well, he lost.
Because he's gone.
He's, well, he went the way of, can't even say the character's name from The Sopranos, who got thrown off the boat.
So
I don't know, what's his name? Can I say it?
So
Anyway.
according to Darren Dreger on TSN 1050 this afternoon,
Here we go.
he expects the Marner camp to take negotiations beyond July 1st.
I bet he does!
He says he expects Marner to visit teams starting June 26th in the RFA offer sheet interview period. Dreger says the Leafs will have to make an aggressive offer, 10 plus, 10.5 plus, 11 plus. And Dreger said he would be very surprised if Marner went beyond 5 years because he wants to go right into free agency.
Oh.
At Account for Hockey, by the way, is a good one to follow if you want your interviews summed up. And I listened to the audio from this. And by the way, he does say all those things.
I tell you what.
Because I always want to make sure that I actually hear it, too.
Yeah, it's very important to listen
In
to
context.
interviews in context,
Yeah.
for sure. When you see those little quotes from radio interviews, they can be taken very out of context.
Yes.
Because usually radio interviews are like, you guys know this, 40-minute conversations.
Yes.
You have that
Yes.
time,
Oh,
that
it happened-
time on the radio.
Happened to us recently.
Well,
they chopped up that Bruin segment. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that looks pretty bad.
Yeah. Well,
And
also,
someone clipped it and made a blog about it that no one read.
It's ridiculous.
someone asked me
Yeah.
once, like, how can you guys, like, not you guys, it was me specifically, like, how come you get things wrong ever? And I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, well, like when you see these articles written and blah, 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 people have gone all the time. How come you can't take the same time to... And I'm like, it's a free-flowing conversation for 2 hours. We can't possibly prep for where we're going to go. Like we have some stuff ready, but there's no... Like when the reason we ask you, Jesse, to look things up is because we don't fucking know. And sometimes it's just opinion, and that's what it is. Yeah. And in this particular case, I don't think this is opinion.
No.
I think this is a direct source quote. And I think
yes, that's what I think it is.
So
it's a direct source quote.
That's why this is so interesting, because it doesn't seem like this isn't out of context. These are things he said very specifically.
No,
What's his name? Paul Ferris? I get confused. Darren Ferris.
Darren Ferris.
And Paul Marner. Sorry.
Yeah. So let me just say this.
Just a Darren Ferris quote.
Remember that conversation we had after Austin Matthews signed his extension? And Darren Ferris was like, great, now it's time to burn down Rome. We had a half an hour discussion about
my time to shine.
Yeah, and he torched the Matthews contract. And Mitch Marner it would have sucked for him walking in the next day after what Darren Ferris did. Darren Ferris, again, is trying to negotiate through the media. And he is the same willing participant this time. It's the same guy. Mm-hmm. And I just want to throw this out there. Because I think it's really, media literacy matters. And I think it's
so important.
I think it's important.
It's so important.
Do you think that this is the only person that Darren Ferris is talking to? Absolutely not.
No.
The difference is other reporters he might have told this to are cross-referencing.
Yes.
And the reason that
he doesn't tell them because he knows they're not going to fall for his bullshit.
There is a reason here. Why would, if you're Darren Dreger in this particular instance, now he says he believes, he expects. That doesn't mean it will. Mm-hmm. And that's how you get out of it, right? So if things change, you go, well, I expected it, but things changed. So if you're Darren Dreger in this case, why is it in it for? What's in it for you to report this?
And this stuff, it really is just a license to print clicks.
100%. Yeah. Bingo.
It works so well.
You get to trend number one on Twitter all day. You get
Mitch Marner's the number one trend in Toronto right now.
You get tens of thousands hits on your website.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I could have more subscribers if I actually just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, if we talked about every rumor we've heard, and we're on the outside.
Yeah. So here's what I'll probably end up doing. I'll make a video about this whole Mitch Marner negotiation and how I think it's going to go. Mm-hmm. And then I'll make another video when he signs. That's what I'm going to do. A smart person would make a Mitch Marner video every 2 days.
Yeah.
Yes.
Literally until he signs, and then make one when he signs, and then the fallout after he signs. And if he signs before, somebody. Yeah, here's how it affects their July 1st plan. I should make friggin' 25 Marner videos.
Yeah.
I care too much to do that.
So
it's exhausting to me. So I tell you what, I see two outcomes here, or there's two that I want in my head. Okay, I want Marner to sign before the draft because that's the smart thing to do.
Mm-hmm. For both sides.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It'd be really smart for Dubas. I think it'd be smart for Marner because then the Leafs can go out and become better Leafs. And if you're going to sign with the Leafs, you want the Leafs to be better. So there's that. The other option is they better go beyond July 1st. Because if they do not, Darren Ferris's word is garbage.
But that's an agent's job. They're like a lawyer. They're the exact same thing.
They're just liars and no one cares.
They are your paid pit bull, man.
Liars and it doesn't matter.
Liars and it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter until pen goes to paper, right?
But I tell you what, don't do this whole all summer shit. I don't have the patience for it anymore. Mm-hmm. I know it already happened for Nylander. Mm-hmm. I know Marner is the better player. That's fine. But I'm tired. And if you're going to do this, get off my hockey team. I don't mind. You know what? There's value out there. I'm sure there's people. It won't take long to find a willing team to take Mitch Marner. It won't take long to take a free agent willing to come to Toronto.
Which you can do
tired.
both with.
Mm-hmm. I'm tired. And I'll make videos about that. How about that?
So
I don't want to go through this again.
So let me throw this at you too.
I don't want to go through this again
because there's something else at play here, and we'll get to that. I think you're right, Steve. And I want to continue down that path. But before we go down that path a little bit further, how surprised will you be? Because we talked about what would be the benefit, right? What's the benefit of throwing something like this out there? How surprised will you be if the same guy that reported this stuff is the same guy that breaks that Mitch Marner signed?
I will not be at all. I will not be shocked at all. That's a very interesting way of putting it.
Could it be that putting this out there is making the Marner camp happy?
Oh my God, yeah.
Well, then there you go.
100%.
So I think we have we have our answer. There's someone, and I don't. To be honest with you, I don't blame him.
No,
because if he gets a scoop like that, then who cares?
It's like what we talk about with Bedman. Like, his job is not to get us to like him. He makes $8 million to keep the owners happy, which I think he does thoroughly. Darren Ferris's job is to keep Paul Marner happy, and also his son.
And Darren Dreger's job
is to get as inside as he can with good sources.
And if he breaks the Marner stuff,
there you go.
That'll be one of the stories of the summer.
I don't know.
At least in Toronto, will.
Sometimes I feel like we pick on the guy. I just feel like it's very transparent.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I don't think we're picking on him here. This has all come from him.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's picking on him. It's like, hey, this is what's happening here. Right. But the problem I have with it.
What does Jim Matheson have to say?
The problem I have with it is this. It looks like it did in like 2014 when there was another connection to Leafs front office.
Dave Nonis.
Yes. And it was quite transparent at that point. And it was quite transparent that there was a message that the Leafs front office wanted to get out to the fans to get them to believe in whatever process that Dave Nonis had in his head, which was flawed and terrible.
It's okay. You got another GM job right away.
Right. Exactly. And it hasn't even been mentioned. Like, like nobody's even called. You know what I mean? I think in this particular case, I don't blame him for what he's doing, but you, as the consumer of that information, need to understand where it's coming from. And I think that's important too.
Yeah, well, I was about to say, like
not freak out.
To the people who it's transparent to, no, and they've known for a while. Most people don't care. Most people don't.
What, you mean Leaf fans?
No, like most people aren't going to take the time to be like, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
they're just going to be like, this is the case. Yeah. Oh, no. This is what it is.
Most people don't dive that deep. They just see that, and then they react, and they're upset.
Yeah. Which to me is manipulative and annoying.
Yes.
I think that's exactly what it is.
Yes. Yeah. The answer is yes.
That's what, okay. Yeah. Here, there's something I've been asked about often, and I don't know. Fine, I'll talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it at the time. So, do you know who the Nelk Boys are?
No.
Do you know who the Nelk Boys are?
They're those people you got really mad at, and then their fans came at you.
Yeah, and I don't know. Maybe I should have been more chill. Yeah, of course.
Did I say that correctly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I should have been a little bit more chill about it.
Wait, you got mad at someone online?
I know.
No way.
I know. Was
it a get off my lawn moment?
No.
Okay. He stepped into his phone booth and he came out with his cape on.
Oh, I see.
And he said,
cape baited.
I am going to save the internet.
I was cape baited a little bit.
No.
I was cape baited a little bit.
I'm surprised you don't remember this.
What's the context here?
100%.
Yeah, tell them the whole story.
So these guys, I didn't know who they were, but they have a hugely successful YouTube channel.
As is tradition.
Yeah.
You never heard of them? Hugely famous.
I know. And they're Leaf fans. They're Toronto-based YouTubers.
Okay.
And they made that video where they were Leaf fans picking on a Bruins fan and shoving them and everything, and then they lit them on fire.
How many subscribers do the Nelk Boys have on YouTube?
I want to say, was it 2 million or something like that? Or 2.5 million?
What?
How many do you think?
It's a lot.
Dude, I've just heard of these guys. I don't know.
3 million.
3
Wow.
million. So it's gone up.
Yeah,
and they're Leaf fans.
Yeah, they did the fake prank. They did a prank, but a fake prank where they lit a Bruins fan on fire.
Yeah, but okay.
So it was the phone.
Let's
I think I sort of remember this.
Yeah.
Okay.
First of all, let's go over English.
Don't get in trouble again.
Don't.
No.
We already did this.
I'm not. No. It's no. There's channels that do this by the thousands, Jesse. What about that is fake or a prank? Go on. Oh, you don't even want to go there, right? Fine. Anyway, it's not a prank. Anyway. But
by the way, all prank videos on YouTube are fake. There we have it.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why they're pranks, and they're all hired actors. There you go. Oh, I hate. Yeah. Oh no, hired actors.
But pranks are not fake. Anyway, so what was? And people were like, "Well, dude, you've seen pranks before and funny jokes, and don't you watch Jackass or whatever?" But I just didn't like that they're making it seem like Leaf fans go around setting Bruins fans on fire, because what the immediate reaction was not oh, what a crazy prank or whatever. It was, look at Leaf fans. And then people don't see the follow-up. Mm-hmm. That's how it works. It's the internet. The follow-up gets lost.
Yeah, no nuance.
It's a never-ending, vast ocean of holy fuck. That's what the internet is.
Yeah, but that's fake outrage. Everybody knows Leaf fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of Canadians are going around lighting people on fire. Fuck off with that.
That's legitimately what people think.
Well, they're dumb. Then they're not even worth your time because they're dumb.
Dumb people run the world because the world is mostly dumb. Okay? And it's our job.
It's our job to say.
Excuse me. With my cape. It's our job to make sure.
Oh, thank God we have you.
I know.
I love you, man.
No, I shouldn't.
No, so anyway, you went after this. So where are we going with this? Because
I don't even remember why.
I think the point you're trying to make is that people seeing this Marner headline is the same reaction of somebody doing this video where it's like, hey, I see Leaf fans lighting a Bruins fan on the fire. Hey, I see Mitch Marner wants $20 million a year for his contract. The average person usually doesn't go and see the thing behind it. Yeah. They just see the thing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then that's what they think the thing is. And they don't go the next step. Yeah. So it's problematic. When you create
my least favorite word.
Which is extraordinarily vague and overused.
BuzzFeed's favorite word.
Problematic is the new classy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's just used so often that it means nothing.
What I love, and this goes for any part of our culture right now. It's not I am saying, because I'm willing in this on this little show to say I put my name behind this, good or bad. This is my opinion, but what an outlet like BuzzFeed will do, like what news outlets will do, is not we are saying, it's people are saying, and then they'll print what people who have no followers, who have no relevance, who have no traction. And they just found 4 tweets that go, I'm fucking nuts. Hey, I'm also fucking nuts. And then they'll make an article out of it.
We've talked about that before. Can you believe someone said yes?
Yeah.
Yes, I can.
Yes.
The internet is outraged over blank. Well, maybe it's not the internet. Maybe it's you literally specifically looked for this so you could write your garbage article.
Totally. Can you believe 12,000 people voted Harambe for president? I'm surprised it was only 12,000. Are you serious?
I think the Jedi got more votes. I'm not even kidding.
Probably. I believe it.
There is a Star Wars party in Toronto. I believe I've seen them on the ticket.
I believe it.
Are you hosting it?
No, I'm not, but I should join.
I believe it. Like, who's shocked by that?
Sabres out for Harambe, am I right?
I don't know. I've just gotten a lot of tweets about that. And then Nelk Boys did a video with Matthews recently, and they're like, what do you think about that? I'm like, good for them. Holy shit.
That's
That's
cool.
Yeah, I don't know if it's out yet, but like, holy shit, what a get. And they tried to start something. They're like, Steve, I saw your commercial. You can't skate. Stick to soccer. And I'm like, yes,
soccer?
I can't skate is the crux of those commercials you are observing. But no,
so you interacted with them.
No, they sent another tweet and I was just like, I'm not even.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
This makes me laugh.
Okay, never mind.
It's like me walking into a field with like a kitchen knife.
Yeah.
And then they've just got like a friggin' cannon like aimed at my face.
You're facing
like,
it's the mother of dragons sitting there with Drogon, and you're standing there with the hockey stick.
Yeah. Well, except
definitely
it works though.
It's Steven Hat guy against.
All they did was fire those arrows and it worked, right? You were saying?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. No, I don't know. So that's why I brought them up. I don't actually care.
Well, no, I mean, listen, I know what you're saying. It was a long way to get.
It's a long way to get.
You made a point,
but
it's a 2-hour show.
If we were to sum it all up, in case anybody's forgotten, from point A to point B, what would you say? You would say, in the case of
vote Harambe,
Darren Dreger with this source, who is clearly Darren Ferris, or somebody from, is it Unicorns? What the hell are they called? What's their?
Yes, I know.
Diagonal something. I don't know.
What are we doing?
What is the name of the agency?
Triangle something. Yeah. What's
they're
the name
all
of the agency?
named.
Yeah, they're all some
Arc Force or something.
It's either a Power Rangers name or it's
either the name
a hockey agency.
Yeah, a hockey agency or like a place to play laser tag.
Yeah. Yes.
Or something like that.
Yes. Anyway,
Agent Quest.
So the comparison again, just to sum it up, between the two.
Yeah.
Is what?
I'm trying to remember myself because it was so long. But it is basically. I just feel like they know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. They're putting something out there that's not necessarily information as information.
Yeah. Well,
It's DGH Sports Agency.
Wow, that's like one of the more normal ones.
Yeah.
I look at this and I just look at this and I go, I will not be surprised when Darren Dreger breaks the Mitch Marner news before Leafs PR.
Yeah, that'll be good for
It'll be
business.
huge for him.
You and all your Bell folks.
That's right. That's right.
Hopefully someone from Sportsnet gets it first. I'll rub it in your face.
These are not competitions that I enter into. I frankly don't care. I'm happy for everybody. Go do your thing.
You just hope both teams have fun.
That's right. Absolutely. We're independent. We get to be beside this, which is nice. We get to run alongside both. It's cool.
Coward.
Dave Tippett's the new head coach in Edmonton.
Stoop! No, I'm kidding.
And one of my favorite parts about this, and Archeology Guy is such a great follow from Edmonton. You should follow him because he's the guy that wants Edmonton to win and yet knows that they're going to lose. And he said, well, looking back into Dave Tippett's history, and I'm paraphrasing his tweet, when he was with the Coyotes, you have to go back to like 2011, 2012 before you can find a team, one of those teams with a player with over 50 points.
Okay, but
Dave
who on
Tippett-
those teams should have had over 50
But that's
points?
the point. Dave Tippett is the ultimate unknown because you got a bunch of hockey men, and I mean this, hockey men, saying, listen, Dave Tippett, that's a great hockey man. Working with the Seattle franchise.
Great hockey man.
Lots of years under the belt. Knows how to press the right buttons. That's a guy I'd hire. That's a guy I'd want on my team. That's a guy I'd want to coach. And so if you're Edmonton, it's sort of a smart hire because you look at his most recent history, which is he's worked for a franchise that is yet to exist, and before that, the Coyotes, who had terrible management, terrible ownership, and had no players. So what was Dave Tippett really going to do?
Now he still has a team that doesn't have very much talent, but they have some wicked talent up top.
Yes. What my favorite part about this press conference was,
Used to doing a lot with very little.
my favorite part of the press conference was Dave Tippett foresees a way for Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid to play together all season.
Oh my!
And the cycle continues.
Unreal.
Could you imagine
Unreal.
Game
so bad.
1 of the 2018-2019 Toronto? What year? 2019-2020.
That's where we're at.
Toronto Maple Leafs season. So going into this year, Mike Babcock comes out and he says, John Tavares and Austin Matthews are going to play together.
They have to.
They
The success
have
of the
to.
team.
Tavares is going to be the center.
Mm-hmm.
Matthews is going to be his right wing. And that's how it's going to be because they want to play together.
That's what it is.
That's what's happening in Edmonton. That's ridiculous.
They could have the best 1, 2, 3 up the middle in the league if they wanted to. And even if they took Nuge and just kept him full-time wing on McDavid's wing, then you have McDavid, Nuge, and who cares on your top line, and then Draisaitl and find one winger and put some grunt out there, and there's your top two lines in the
Andreas
roster.
Janssen.
Could be. Kasperi Kapanen could be.
Sure.
When they get offer sheeted, woo! I don't know. We'll see.
Well, according to NHL by Maddie, it might happen.
By the way-
I can't wait.
By the way, a quick question for you. If Mitch Marner does, let's say they do make the rounds and they do the John Tavares, well, we're going to go to every other team. And do you not just say, okay, see ya?
I mean, you try to keep him, but you say
Not at $12 million,
We would love to keep you at this number. Here it is.
Now,
That is an absurd thing to do as an RFA. Like you have no right to go
I
shop
think-
to other teams.
Yeah, but I think...
Yeah, you do.
You do, and I
don't.
think...
You have every right.
You're signed to the team.
I have a feeling that there
It's
is...
in the rules.
Guys, there is an agent here who's trying to position himself as the best agent in hockey. That's exactly what's happening here.
I love this man.
He's got a hot... yeah, exactly that. And he is trying to change the way
He deserves $15 million, but we're being merciful and asking for 11 and a half.
This is my point. I think he's trying to change the game. And I don't disrespect... I respect it. Go ahead and do it. Good luck.
Marner signs for under 10, by the way. I'm calling it right now.
Steve Dangle.
Calling it right now. Because
I don't disagree.
Do you still have that Dreger tweet pulled up?
It's not a tweet, it's a thing. But yes.
Here,
Account for Hockey's tweet. Yes.
Okay, so what is the number?
He expects Marner's camp to take negotiation beyond July 1st, expects Marner to visit other teams starting June 26th for the RFA offer sheet period. Leafs have to make an aggressive offer, 10 plus, 10.5 plus, 11 plus.
So they have
is
a
it 10
number
or
in
11?
mind. Yeah. Here, say that again.
10 plus, 10.5 plus, 11 plus.
What is that?
That's
nothing. We want a lot, is all he's saying. We want a lot. Okay. Well, you've established what a lot is, so when you sign for less than a lot, people will think it's a little.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it's going to work. He'll sign for 9.5, which will make him, I don't know, the second or third highest paid winger in the entire NHL, something like that, and we'll think it's a discount. It's a great little campaign.
It is. Is it great? It's fallen flat before. And they had to go away for a while. And remember, let's not forget that right after all the burning of Rome, as I like to call it, right after Darren Ferris fell directly on his face in front of everybody and made Mitch Marner look terrible.
Yeah.
He then came out and had a press conference and did the rounds with TSN and Sportsnet. Not press conference, but he did and he said Mitch Marner will be a Leaf for a long time.
And
so don't forget that he also said that in February.
Yeah. So wait, though. So there's been a couple things going around that just make me freaking nauseous. Just be honest about your bias, please, for the love of God. So the Leafs got ruined because William Nylander joined the team late, and he's a bad team guy. Can you imagine if William Nylander's agent
did this,
came out after Austin Matthews signs his deal, the day he signs his deal, and goes, "My client deserves just as much." Can you imagine the streets would just be full? We'd still be cleaning up all of the very, very full diapers from just the streets of Toronto. It'd be like if every police horse was out except human. It would be utter chaos and anarchy in the streets. And the other thing I saw...
It would be like the celebration that Raptors fans had, only violent.
But yeah, everyone shat. Every single one of those people you saw, let's go, and they all shat. All at once. It was like the brown note was played. And all of them, all at once. You know what also made me sick the other day? Pessimistic. I don't care. Did you know that David Pastrňák is literally Mother Teresa?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry. Excuse my language.
Did you know?
Also,
David Pastrňák doesn't do it for the money, guys.
For the love of the game!
Can I just say,
the love of the game!
Before you continue on that, we were trying to talk about Dave Tippett signing with Edmonton.
I don't care.
Whatever, Edmonton.
I don't care.
Edmonton gets enough of our oxygen. They can wait.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we literally led this Leafs podcast with Edmonton.
And when we do get back to Edmonton, I'm going to actually compliment
And by the way, it's not a Leafs podcast. It's just a hockey podcast. But
no, it's
Leafs leaning.
It's the Steve Dangle podcast with the podcast.
Right.
Is what it is.
It's true. And
It's true.
It's true.
And you know what it is right now? The Vatican podcast. Because we're about to talk about a saint.
Domine.
Yeah. Pasternakinus.
The incense is just being smart. So tell me about Brother Pasternak. Pastor. He's pastor of Knack.
Oh my, he's Pastor Knack. Perfect. Yeah, he should have the placanets instead of the turtleneck. He's got the white and black thing.
That's right. You're the confirmed Catholic.
I know.
I don't know what that's
but
called.
I don't care. Listen, he plays for the love of the game.
Okay.
That's why he plays.
So why does that clip bother you? He said that he played for the love of the game.
So can you just context pre Stanley Cup Final?
Yes.
They interviewed David Pastrňák and he says, I play hockey because I love it.
And Boston just about flipped.
Okay.
They were just
He's not playing for money.
He is so great. We love him. Honey, I don't blame them.
Yeah, honey, I'm just out doing all the grocery shopping. I noticed there's no moisturizer and Kleenex left. There's none. What should I get instead?
Wow.
What should I get instead?
Did they sign up for the 10-day free subscription?
What was the question that got him to say that?
I don't know. Or care. All I know is he plays for the love of the game, Jesse. And here's my open challenge to David Pastrňák. You make $6.6 million. Donate $6 million of it. That's it. You play for the love of the game. Donate $6 million.
No, here's what it is. David
What
Pastrňák
it is he
does
plays
not
for the love
deserve our
of the
hate.
game.
He does not deserve it.
He doesn't deserve our hate. Who does deserve our hate are the schmucks that fall for that hokey bullshit. That hokey, utter nonsense. I saw one person go, people actually compared William Nylander to this guy. William Nylander, who makes almost the exact same amount, by the way. William Nylander signed for that plus inflation for the year. The year difference. Mm-hmm. Can you believe that Nylander was compared? They make almost the same amount of money, Dick. Almost the same amount of money. But because he literally just says... Nylander could come out and say that. He could deliver a check to sick kids, one of those oversized checks that get booed on his way in the building.
By the media, not by the fans. The fans love Nylander.
There's a bunch of dumb fans. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because they follow what the media says.
Everybody, listen. He plays for the love of the game.
Well, okay, listen. I think here's my suggestion would be this.
My suggestion would be we listen to one of the highest paid members of the Boston Bruins talk about how he only plays for the love of the game.
Can we also not forget that Pastrňák missed a day of training camp?
Yeah, he held out.
Yeah, but he got it done, is what I was told. He got it done.
You know.
Well, then what was the negotiation for? What'd you miss training camp for? Why would you miss a single day of training camp when you say you play for the love of the game? You love that shit. Why would you miss a single day?
You know what? If he played for the love of the game, he'd have taken league men and allowed Boston to go out and get better players for him to play around.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Right?
Who would have also signed for league men?
And people,
because you don't want any teammates who don't play for the love of the game.
My favorite part
Why
of
would you
this?
miss that a single day at training camp? Think of all the bum slaps that were missed. All the drills that were not perfected. And that single, the Bruins could have won the cup by now.
They would have
forgone the final because they would have been so finely tuned because
they would
the
have
whole
loved
team
it so much.
plays for the love of the game.
The day.
All of them. Oh, it's all soap opera bullshit. You all fell for it.
Can I just say something?
Disgusting.
Jesse, my favorite part about this is Steve and I were not snitch tagged, but we were just tagged in this thing. About you guys should. And the guy. I'm like, dude, just enjoy the game. Like, enjoy it. You're in the finals. Enjoy this. But he said, like, you guys should tell Nylander about this, and a bunch of Boston fans got on us, and it was funny.
Oh.
And it was like...
It was more than one.
And
we're not talking about
what
one
I
guy.
said was, fine, then accept league men. And people were like, well, he's earned the right to deserve what he's paid for, or like to play what... And I said...
because then he doesn't play for the love of the game.
Then I agree. Then let's just call it what it is. Like, it's okay to have a fun job.
One guy is like, well, he's got like a family or whatever. Oh! How is he going to make it by
on
with
900
700 G's a year? Get a grip! Get a grip!
Literally, the NHL minimum is just about 20 times what the average person in North America makes.
Oh, yeah.
20 times. League minimum, you're pretty good.
Adam, are you North America? Globally.
Globally, if it's even more.
You're in the
100 times.
10th percentile of people on Earth.
Yes.
He should be thinking about those people.
Well, David Pastrňák deserves the money David Pastrňák gets. And in
Absolutely.
fact, David Pastrňák probably deserves more. If
It's an amazing contract.
It is.
And you know why it's amazing? The love of the game!
When you make that much money, you've lost the right to say, I only play for the love of the game. That's bullshit. And that's like saying that, okay, I love what we do here. Mm-hmm. I love my job on radio. Mm-hmm. And I think that things
you got stuff to pay for.
I got dogs to feed. Guess what? I have a really fun job.
Yes.
I have a really fun job. So does David Pastrňák. Yes. I'm not compensated even close to where David Pastrňák is compensated.
Yes.
But the point is, I get paid to do my job. Do I do it for the love of working? Mm-hmm. No. I have to work. So I figured I'd do something fun.
And you're right. It is. You're right.
Is that fair?
I am aiming this at Pastrňák unfairly.
Yes.
He didn't have a lot of money growing up. That's why his tape job's so messed up. You know that?
No, I didn't know.
So his tape job it's hideous. It obviously works for him. Type in David Pastrňák tape job.
Okay.
It's disgusting. But the reason is because they didn't want to waste tape.
That's an adorable story.
It is an adorable story.
That's a tearjerker.
They didn't want to waste tape, whereas I think Panarin just does it because he's weird. His tape job's super weird. They just put the little strip at the bottom. But the people who fall for that, you know what? Because it's a great message.
Yeah.
I play for the love of the game. Yes, I make a lot of money, but I love this game so much.
And both can be true.
And people took that positive message and they made it into a little shitball, and they threw it right at William Nylander because they couldn't wait. They couldn't. I feel like they just sit at home going, "Give me ammo."
I don't doubt that he loves hockey. I don't doubt that at all. But to claim that, like, you know who loves hockey? Guys who pay to play it.
Everyone.
Guys who are paying $1,000 a year to pay shitty.
Everyone who's ever signed an ECHL contract.
Loves the game.
Been sent down, signed like, yes, I want to play for the Reading Royals.
And make $10,000 a year.
Because I love Reading, Pennsylvania so much.
Or, well, $40,000 a year. It's not a lot of money.
Oh, it's less than $40,000 a year. I think it's like $300 or $400 a week.
That's crazy.
So, Pasternak, he's been peddling this storyline for a little bit now.
Yes.
Back in November.
I could swear we've had this discussion.
When they're asking him about the Nylander discussions, because he was same draft, similar situation, he said, if you told me when I was 15 years old that I would be going to playing for $6 million a year when I was 22, I don't think I would have believed it. It's a dream come true for me. I'm happy with what I'm getting. I could be playing in the Czech Republic for a couple $100 per month. I'm really happy.
Nylander should have aimed a puck right at his crotch.
So
for sure.
That was his response to the Nylander situation. So it's something he's been saying for a while.
Yeah. Which is positive message.
Yeah, it's good for the kids and everything, but it's not the entire story. You're also pretty happy you're making $6 million a year.
Positive message overall. It's just funny to me. I just think it's funny how people take that positive message and they use it for evil. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Does that make sense?
But that's what people do.
It's like taking Thor's hammer and robbing a bank. Like, what? That's supposed to be a tool for good. See? I know superheroes.
And listen, I don't fault David Pastrňák one bit. I bet he freaking loves hockey. So do I.
Oh, yeah.
He gets paid a lot more for loving hockey than I do.
Made that much.
But you know what? He deserves the money he gets. Let's just enjoy the fact that David Pastrňák is a wholesome, loving beast, except for when he plays the freaking Leafs. I hate that guy.
He's Robin Hood.
But he is freaking Robin Hood, yes. And good for him.
No,
I'm happy for him. Go be a rich man. Be rich and be happy. Just don't say that you only do it for the love of the game, because the money's pretty good too. Yeah, right?
You do it for both.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Both can be true.
Yeah.
But let's just be honest about it.
I do it because I'm good at hockey and it seemed like a good career choice. Not as sexy.
But
my guidance counselor told me to.
Yeah, my guy said, have you considered hockey? No. Chances are good.
You should play in the NHL.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And that was the thing. Did your guidance counselor try to talk you out of this? Because mine did.
No, I never spoke to them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ever. From a young age, I was always very distrustful of
Did you grow up
advice
on
like
Degrassi?
that.
Well, we went to the same school. I don't know how you did.
You talked to your guy.
No, you know what?
We had to. It was part of the thing, yeah.
I had thought about it, and then, so we had a different guidance counselor, I think, for grade 12 than we did for the previous 3 years. And a friend of mine, or no, maybe it was heading into grade 12. But okay, here in Ontario, there's college level courses in high school, and there's university level courses. And for some reason, college is the less hard one, and university is the hard one, which is already a flawed, misleading system. But this guidance counselor, a friend of mine, was like, "Oh yeah, I want to take college courses and go to college because that's what I'm going to do." And the counselor laughed at them. And was like, "Why are you doing that?"
Because he went to university, that's why.
I mean, yeah, probably. And from that moment on, I was like, "Yeah, I don't care for any advice this guy has."
Yeah. Well, my same guy tried to talk me out of this. So listen, it's
How hard was it not to drop the "Do you know who I am"?
No.
Come on.
Nah. I think it was.
Nah. Shut up.
The thing is that you look at it and you go.
You never had that argument in the car by yourself?
The guidance counselor's job is to give you the best percentage of success. And let's be straight, radio's not exactly an industry where they're like, hey, A guidance counselor's job isn't to tell you to follow your dreams. It's your parents' job. His job is to say, listen, a lot of people try radio. Not a lot of people make it.
I don't think. Well, yeah, it's his job to tell you that. I don't think it's his job to then go, no, you shouldn't do that.
But have you considered?
Have you considered? Or, hey, that's what you want to do? Well, it's not a very high percentage. But if you want to do it, here's how you go about achieving that.
Right.
Which I think is what a good guidance counselor does. You don't go swatting people down. You know? Hey, I want to be an astronaut. Well, got to tell you, your odds are poor. However, here are the steps you should take. Here's the courses you should take. And what's the saying, Adam? And I think it applies beautifully to astronomy. Aim for the moon. Because even if you miss, you'll end up amongst the stars.
I think that, didn't Pitbull rap that?
Kanye.
Kanye rap that?
Aim for the sky. If you fall, you'll land on a cloud. It's Kanye.
No, I think Pitbull, reach for the stars, and if you don't land them, at least you'll land on top of the world. He has that line, too. And he sounds like that because he talks like this. I don't know why.
Who are you talking about?
Listen, I know I played that freaking song. It's in my head somewhere.
How did we get here?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I thought Dave Tippett was a decent hire.
The fact is, Dave Tippett in Edmonton. Dave Tippett in Edmonton. I found the whole Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl playing together funny. I did find that funny.
Okay, me too.
Because, of course.
Coaches can say things about their team in May that don't have to apply in October.
Right.
Also, you know what? I'm going to give a participant crown. I'll give a Prince crown to myself.
Oh.
Now you're going to get dragged.
Me.
Good.
Sorry.
Bring me your Reddit threads. I was right about the Oilers.
What were you right about?
I think Ken Holland's the right guy.
Well, Paul Coffey's out.
Is Paul Coffey out?
Now,
when did that break?
Mark Spector is this afternoon. Mark Spector said unconfirmed reports that Paul Coffey has been relieved.
So let's assume that's what happened. Let's assume Paul Coffey's gone. There's 3 guys from that management group that are gone. There's McTavish.
Mm-hmm.
Who else left?
Coffey, and there was another guy.
Was it Tambellini?
Tambellini's gone.
So it might be 4.
Well, Tambellini was gone a while ago. We were wrong about Steve Tambellini. He's been around for a while.
It's a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
They bring in Tippett, who,
the PR guy's gone too?
Yep. I mean, I'm not going to praise or criticize that. Yeah. I don't know anything about it.
To be fair to the poor PR guy, it's not like they had a great message to send. So
right. We are good. Which would have been a bad message because, no, you're very not. And they signed that Swedish winger, the 26-year-old. I forget his name.
Yes.
Starts with an N, I think. Anyway,
I saw that too.
That's exactly the sort of move they should make. Okay, he's a goal scorer who's fast.
Yep.
I really don't care about the rest of his game. Like, okay, he's not that great at defense. Okay, as opposed to what that the Oilers have right now. He's a finisher who's fast.
That's all you need.
Put him with Draisaitl or McDavid or Nuge, because God knows what you're going with down the middle these days. And if he doesn't work out, who cares? He's making like $900,000.
Well, and I would take, if I were the Oilers in the cap situation they're in, I would take the Al Davis method. Al Davis owned the Raiders, and his son Al Davis Jr. now owns them and has the worst haircut in the history of mankind. And Al Davis's thing in the 70s and 80s, when the Raiders were good, and this is a dated system, so keep this in mind, is he would just find the best athlete. I found the guy who's the fastest, and we'll turn him into a football player. And I think in this particular case, it makes a lot of sense for the Oilers to go find the guy who's the fastest guy. Mm-hmm. Can he handle a puck? Is he fast? Good. Then he can keep up with Connor. Connor can take care of the rest. Try it.
And I'm curious, like with improvements in scouting and everything. I wonder if we're going to see more guys in like their mid-20s who were completely missed. I'm not even talking about late bloomers. I'm talking about guys you missed entirely getting scooped up and doing well. Not like Per Lindholm was an enormous success story or anything, but Team Finland just won the gold medal at the World Hockey Championship. And yes, it's the World Hockey Championship. It's not the best of the best, but it's still the pretty good of the pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. And they just won it with like 0 NHL regulars?
Yeah.
Or like 2? Or something like that. Surely there's some guys in that team who can play a regular shift for you.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And that goes for Sweden. That goes for Russia. I think the reason we see it, out of the KHL more often is I think it's just scouted better.
Yeah.
To be honest, there's more resources allocated. And maybe it's a better league. There's more teams. It's a little bit more competitive. But, dude, since Ken Holland got hired by the Oilers, I'm struggling to find something he's done that I don't like.
Oh, there isn't. Like, what could you say?
He's the guy. He's the right guy.
He is the right guy. And I think Dave Tippett's the right guy because whether or not Dave Tippett's record supports a hire, it doesn't really matter at this point. What you need is somebody who's stable. You need a stabilizing force there.
Yeah, I sort of, like with Pat Burns, Pat Quinn, they said he wasn't the greatest X's and O's coach, but he was a great motivator. Mm-hmm. I felt like the Oilers roster had a little bit more to give. And also, like, are you teaching Connor McDavid much?
No.
Let him fly. Yeah. Let him be ridiculous. Let Draisaitl be ridiculous. Let Nuge be ridiculous.
They may even take a page out of the Bruins book, albeit with less depth, but you look at that Marchand, Bergeron, Pasternak line, which has got to still be, if it's not the best line in the league, the second best.
I'd say probably best.
It's got to be the best line in the league. Mm-hmm. And you could create something akin to that with Edmonton and solve a lot of your problems if you could find that other guy. Now,
Sean Corrali.
Find your Charlie Quills and your Sean Corrales because those guys are available for the third and fourth round picks.
Draft a Jake DeBrusk.
Well,
who probably went too high and is still a fine NHL player.
Yes.
Be better at drafting.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. And try to find a way out of those contracts and not sign other bad ones if you can.
Yeah. Oh, from the last podcast, you said Brandon Manning was the guy the Leafs were going after. I said Matt. No,
Benning.
I said Ben Hutton.
Ben Hutton, and it was Matt Benning.
It was Matt Benning.
Right. Sorry to everybody.
You had the ing, I had the Ben. It was Matt Benning.
We were close.
We were almost there.
So it came out this week that Pittsburgh almost traded Phil Kessel to the Minnesota Wild for Jason Zucker, who
would have suggested that?
I know, right?
Who would have suggested
now, evidently, according to the Athletics' Michael Russo, it was, who was it? It was Zucker and something else. And Zucker just re-signed a deal. Now, Zucker was...
For Kessel and Jack Johnson.
That's right. It was going to be that. Now, apparently Phil Kessel said no. The Wild are in his no-trade list. And the reason he said no was because he doesn't believe that Minnesota can take a run at the Cup.
The lie. Locate it.
And apparently Paul Fenton got on the phone with him and said, listen, there's some young players on this team that are great, and we think you'll be great with them. And Phil Kessel still said, nah, I don't think so. They had a phone conversation about it.
I mean, he doesn't need to bank on maybes.
No, but interesting, though, that Minnesota, he grew up in Minnesota. Interesting that a guy like him would say no to Minnesota. Hometown.
He spent enough time away from Minnesota that it probably doesn't matter, man.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what? Here's how much Minnesota means. He won the Cup the first time. Where'd he bring it? Toronto.
Are you saying that the Leafs could reacquire Phil Kessel?
I'm not saying that.
Are you saying he's making another trip to Front and John?
Yeah, get a hot dog.
On a cart?
Hold on. I just want to bring that up.
The hot dog cart?
Yeah.
Front and John.
Hot dog. Because I want to reread.
Are you reading the Simmons article?
I want to reread that opening sentence. That sentence stuck with me.
It's one of the most incredible things in Toronto sports writing history. It's in the lore of the media
it's on
in
the
Toronto.
Rushmore.
It's
at
on
least for the Leafs.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
There was a really good one. Someone brought up the article, and I saw Steve Simmons tweet, like, I've written 1,000 articles since that, and someone responded, I want to say it was either MLSE or Kemi. One of them said, yeah, and how many ground balls did Bill Buckner field? They remember one.
That's like an artist who has a hit single, and then they go to the concert. It's like, no, we want to hear the hit single.
Yeah.
No, give me hot dog cart.
Yeah. Sorry, Steve.
Hot dog
we
cart.
want to hear hot dog cart.
Remember when Robin Thicke was huge?
Oh, remember? What do you not play Blurred Lines? Is that a thing?
So we played Blurred Lines or whatever, and our big get, we had a big summer concert when I was back at KISS, and a huge summer concert. It was called Wham Bam.
Yeah.
Avril Lavigne was on it, and I think there were a few other big artists or whatever. But Robin Thicke was the big get.
Because he had the number one song of the summer
in the world.
He wrote Hot Dog Cart.
He wrote Hot Dog Cart.
Yeah.
You're right.
So the Molson Amphitheater at the time, now the Budweiser stage, had, I think it seats 18,000 or something like that, and I think we maybe sold 14 or 15,000 seats, which is a lot.
I was there for the first OVO Fest.
And
Thanks, Steve.
Just thought I'd throw that out.
Old iceberg at it again. Take a sip. You must be exhausted.
Oh, I'm thirsty too.
Titanic's going down.
So
You think you get it? Think you can sink this ship? I'm coming. Old iceberg.
So I've never seen something go down like this, and this is a story I've never really told.
DiCaprio, Winslet, I got something for that ass. Sorry.
So evidently, Robin Thicke was very worried that people wouldn't know his other music, and he was right.
He was
Fair.
right, because didn't his album after that sell like 2 copies?
Yeah, he was big on the. Well, it also didn't help that he was a total asshole and addicted to drugs and doing shitty things to his wife. So
Well, Adam.
Yeah, so it's amazing how that plays on the public perception as well. But interestingly, he apparently there was a conversation backstage, quite a tense one, wherein people on our side said, "Hey, you maybe want to hold off on playing the number one song in the world until later." And he said, "But nobody will know my music, so I better play it first."
Yeah.
And they said, "No, you better not, because people expect that as the encore. That's the song they came to dance to. We've had all these great artists. We've had all these great lead-ups. They will wait through your set for the big song, because that's what people do. Like, if you go to a Big and Rich show, they don't open with Save a Horse, Ride a Cowboy.
Yeah. Because
Lou Bega does not open with Mambo Number 5. You got to listen to Lou Bega's new music.
When you go see Owl City, they don't open with Fireflies.
No, they don't. Smash Mouth does not open with
All-Star.
All-Star.
They open with Drake Sucks.
Maybe Walking on the Sun. I don't know. But you get the point, right? So Robin Thicke opens with Blurred
Oh,
Lines.
God.
And by the way, I had interviewed him earlier that week, and he was completely hammered at like 10 in the morning.
Oh, good.
We thought, anyway. Pretty sure.
Newly hammered or still?
Newly and still.
Oh.
And so he opens, and I swear to God, I've never seen this in my life. Never in my life. It's 9:30, and half of the venue stands up after the song is done and leaves.
They probably thought the concert was over.
And he played it again later on. So he played it at the beginning and the end of his set. That was the compromise.
Oh.
But people weren't around for the second time.
Who sticks around for... I've never been to a show where a band played the same song twice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rough. Anyway, that's a story. And it's too bad because they put so much bloody work into it. Like, they did such a great job pulling this event together. Those events are so hard. Festivals are so hard to pull together, especially with limited radio budgets the way they are. And it was amazing that they even did it. And then this guy comes on and is like, "Yeah, no, I think I'll do this."
That's a great story, Adam. You're like an iceberg that helps the ship.
Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I know this completely.
You steer the ship properly.
So here's the hot dog
You're the bouncy
opening
iceberg.
line. Here's the hot dog opening line. The hot dog vendor who parks daily at Front and John Street just lost his most reliable customer.
Oh, dear.
Almost every afternoon, 2:30 p.m., often wearing a toque, Phil Kessel would wander from his neighborhood condominium to consume his daily snack. And now that he's gone, just like that. And now he's gone, just like that. The Maple Leafs could no longer stomach having Kessel around. The first player to be both punished and rewarded for the saddest Leafs season in history. The Leafs held their breath, plugged their noses, and ostensibly gave Kessel to the Penguins because they couldn't stand having him around anymore.
Gave Kessel... And it's funny now, knowing what they got in return.
Kasperi's not bad.
Kasperi Kapanen and the first-round pick that they used to get Freddie Anderson.
Ah, yes.
Oh, wow.
That's right. That would have been Sam Steele, I think they turned that into.
Yes, I think
That
so.
was
So
Sam Steele.
Anaheim got something out of
Yeah,
it,
they
too,
did.
for sure.
But
Sam
the
Steele
Leafs
looks
got what they needed.
Yes. Can you imagine the Leafs without Freddie Anderson right
Bingo.
now?
Bingo.
It's just such a ridiculous way to start an article about
And
a
that's
hockey
why
player.
that's why it's his dinger, man. That's why that's straight to number one for 8 weeks. And I would love there's no way this happens, but I would love to see Kessel back in Toronto.
No.
I would love it at $6.8 million.
For
That guy is
Nylander.
a steal.
No,
in
play
today's
him
cap.
with Nylander.
Oh, the fuck you line.
Yeah, we already did this. Kadri, Nylander,
Oh, anyway.
Kessel.
See, the thing is, Kessel would be $8 million to the Leafs because they're paying him 1.2.
No, but then you go to Pittsburgh and you say, no, you're going to hold back. You're going to take the 1.2 now.
Yeah, so we talked about that.
We would flip that.
They would have to retain 1.2, so then his cap hit would be 5.6, but really
It'd be 6.8.
it would be 6.8.
Yeah.
Confusing as shit.
I wonder, Phil, if first off, Phil probably doesn't want to get traded. And who would with a team with, Gino and Matt Murray and Chris Letang and Sidney Crosby on it. I wouldn't want to get traded either. But maybe he looks at it and goes, we had a good run. My time is up. They got to make some changes. My question is, what team that is a contender
Can afford you.
can afford him? And I wonder if the Florida Panthers don't make a lot of sense.
Panthers could be neat.
Maybe Columbus?
Columbus. You know who's got a lot of cap space that no one's talking about? Montreal.
Oh, can you imagine?
Phil Kessel the Hab.
That's not bad.
Phil Kessel the Hab.
I
Now,
would be happy for him. Playing with Max Domi.
Yeah, I can see that.
I feel like we didn't give enough credit to Montreal's young guys a few weeks ago. They got some guys, man. They might be real good real quick.
Oh, I think they're going to be good. Yeah,
And they're going to want that cap space so that they can pay them eventually. But if you want something on the short term, Phil Kessel the Hab could be very interesting. Methinks?
Methinks too. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Because I looked at that and I thought, who can afford you, Phil?
There's some. This is a very interesting summer. That's why I sent that tweet
So
earlier today about
here's another
RFAs.
one. Here's another one that I think is interesting because we know that, and Chicago fans have reached out claiming that this is what's going to happen. Blackhawks fans have said that the Blackhawks are going to eventually win the sod for Panarin trade by re-signing Panarin this summer.
Which would be hysterical.
Because if they could have re-signed him, then they would have not needed to trade him and did not lose out on the 160 points he scored in the meantime.
A little bit of gymnastics to get there, but I feel it.
Well, yeah, because that's still not a winning trade. But anyway, my point in saying this is that if Chicago swings and misses on Panarin, doesn't Phil Kessel make a lot of sense? And they can afford him.
The problem with that is it's a Kessel trade.
Mm-hmm.
So what would they send Pittsburgh's way?
That's a good question.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like I feel like their top end talent is still enough to contend with. It's just the supporting cast isn't great. A little bit of instability in goal as well with the whole Corey Crawford situation. That's super unfortunate for sure.
That's a bummer.
But like, I don't know. Are you going to trade a defensive prospect like Yoki? How are you? Or Yoki? I once called him Okay. How are you?
Mm-hmm.
And now I don't know how to say his actual name. The guy they have with a name
A weird name.
that starts with a J and is Finnish. People have talked about him in trades, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Chicago can't afford to get rid of him. Duncan Keith is getting older.
Mm-hmm.
Brent Seabrook is older now.
If they still had Teuvo Teravainen, you would think that would make sense.
He was a casualty of we're so damn good.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even blame him for that. And I mean, he's been replaced with guys like DeBrincat. Like I'm talking about on
Well, and you got to think that would
D.
be Pittsburgh's ask would be DeBrincat.
This is what I'm talking about, right? Like
Chicago could not do that.
Yeah, just because they could afford him under the cap. Now, if you can afford him under the cap, that means you have cap space, right? So this is where the Jack Johnson scenario makes some sense.
Yes, and then in that case too, if Elliot Friedman says this a lot, and I totally agree.
Ow.
The most important thing and the most valuable thing in the league is cap space, especially this time of year. So maybe just offloading that money. I mean, think about it. Kessel at 6.8 and then Jack Johnson. And the fact that Pittsburgh was even going to get Jason Zucker back is pretty good.
It's Paul Fenton, man.
Like,
I don't know
that's
about
surprising.
that one,
But if Chicago said, yeah, we'll take them, and we will give you nothing. Mm-hmm. If I'm Rutherford, I still take it and go, then I'll go after someone in free agency. Although I don't know if you can replace Phil Kessel's production. That's the part that I worry about. At $6.8 million, I don't know that you can.
But
it might be a
you get a guy
conflict of personality.
You get a guy who's 60% of Kessel and a defenseman who's 200% of Jack Johnson.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully that's the trade-off for you.
Well, and maybe you can offload Goodbranson while you're at it.
Hey, maybe.
Boy.
Goody. I feel bad for Goodbranson and Johnson being lumped in the same group. I just get the impression. I don't know if this makes sense. I feel like Goodbranson is at very least what the people who praise him think he is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tough, a good leader, all those, what's it called? Invariables?
Intangibles.
Invariables, idiot. He's got all those intangibles, and he is at least what people say he is. But like Jack Johnson, they're like, he's this, he's that, he's that. And I'm like, what? No, look at this.
He's none of that.
Look at all these numbers.
Yeah.
Not only is he not that, he has never been that.
Right.
What are you talking about? So, and that contract, it's worse than Goodbranson's. 100%. 1,000 times worse. Every team's got a couple bad deals on him, and I feel like Goodbranson's isn't so bad that it should sink you.
But they didn't have to.
Johnson's is bad.
They didn't have to sign it, but the days
they
leading
acquired
up
him.
to it. Yeah, but did they acquire him or they signed him?
They acquired Goodbranson. I want to say for Tanner Pearson.
I'm sorry, I'm talking about Jack Johnson. Yeah.
Oh yes. So this is the thing. If they do manage to offload him, it's still a fail because
they didn't have to do it.
you're 1 year in. 1 year into this crazy bet you
and
made.
leading up to it, all the media and all the fans said, "Please don't do this." Like that was
Definitely all the fans.
We saw that coming for a mile and going, well, it makes a lot of sense. He's friends with Sidney Crosby. So what? He's not good enough.
You know who's friends with Sidney Crosby? Shea Weber, Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, John Tavares,
Nate McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon.
They go to Tim Hortons together.
Go get him. Go get him. Where were you on the Tavares sweepstakes? They're friends.
Right, exactly. This is the point. So anyway, interesting to see what will happen with Phil Kessel this summer. It looks as though he's out the door. It just depends on where. If a team just outside of Miami calls, I am not saying no to that.
Well, and they got some guys too.
They sure do. Mike Hoffman, Huberdeau, Barkov. Imagine Barkov and Kessel together. That sounds a little scary, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that could be bad. Or Hoffman could be part of the return. He could be we want to get better, or we want to stay good now, but also here's a little bit of sweetener.
Yeah.
Or whatever, something like that.
Cool.
It's
I like
interesting.
it. I like it. Let's do, we got to talk a little bit about your book and your video, because you are doing videos again, which is nice. It seems like you've recovered from round one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm embarrassed.
Took me a while, too. I get it.
I'm embarrassed. I went through some shit. And I just didn't really want to.
What kind of shit?
I was depressed.
Were you?
Yeah, but it wasn't Leaf related.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I didn't feel like doing anything.
What happened?
I know I'm bringing the show down.
Just be honest. No, you're being honest.
I'm being honest. Well,
people go through that.
It's like how I talked about in the book. It doesn't need to be something happened.
Okay.
Sometimes you are. Mm-hmm. And I was. But no, I'm making stuff now because I have that energy. And I'm feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday I was on the bench in hockey, which is where I belong. And I was just smiling. I was just like, this is great. I feel great right now. So I'm using my energy while I have it. There it is. So I'm making some videos. The book stuff. So some people have been yelling at me about dates. There's a bunch.
Okay.
Fun.
You know my tendency to bite off more than I can chew? Mm-hmm. I'm doing it! So what do we got coming up confirmed? Bradford is happening for sure. Vaughan is happening for sure. And just keep an eye on my Twitter and all that for the dates. There is another Toronto date coming. Actually, sorry, there's two. Mm-hmm. So there's a Toronto date coming that's just a signing. There's a Toronto date that's a show. It's in Scarborough. Mm-hmm. And Vancouver, I'm hoping to... I want to have an answer for you as early as tomorrow, so Wednesday. But I can't... I'm not sure. I don't know. It's going to be very soon. I'm trying to make Vancouver happen. Financial... Believe it or not, Vancouver's not right next door.
And flying, fun fact about flying within Canada, we have a embargo on allowing any international carrier to fly you from Canadian city to Canadian city. So the reason that flights are so expensive in Canada is because...
Is that why?
Yeah, that's why. Because only Canadian carriers can take you. So what do Canadian carriers do? They go, oh, wow, we have a monopoly, so we can jack the prices up. And that's what they do.
So I sent a bunch of autographed books to people recently. It cost me more to ship to certain parts of Ontario, the province I live in, than to ship to California or frigging Germany.
It's $200 for me to go to Florida, to go to one trip, one way. $800 to go to Nova Scotia.
Like
Shorter flight to Nova Scotia.
I might go to Florida for a weekend this summer, but I'm talking about a trip to out west with my wife, like it's Europe. Like, we got to make this last.
Yeah.
Because it is Europe.
The reason they do this, by the way, is to protect jobs and to protect Canadian carriers. They want to have Canadian airlines because airlines claim that they can't compete on the world stage.
Sure.
And that a bunch of people will lose their jobs if they don't. This is why they're doing it. I'm just presenting both sides. I'm not saying I agree with it. But it does suck if you're trying to fly within the country. So I can understand why Vancouver would be quite expensive for you. Or whoever's paying for you, because I hope
we don't need to get into all that. We don't need to get into all that.
It's David Pastrňák.
Oh.
Because he does it for the love of the game.
He does it for the love of the flight. He's a pilot, don't you know?
That'd be amazing.
That would be cool. He's got the money to learn.
Man, a Bruin flying to Vancouver during the Stanley Cup Final.
Oh, wow.
Familiar.
Hey, by the way, did you guys know that Artemi Panarin liked a comment on Instagram the other day? Let me read the comment to you. Panarin to Pettersson, he scores. Please sign with Vancouver. Artemi Panarin liked it. And Vancouver Canucks Twitter is freaking.
Oh my God!
And by the way, Artemi Panarin, the only reason I know that, is trending in Toronto. Do you know why?
No.
Because everybody said, fine, trade Mitch Marner, let's sign Artemi Panarin.
Oh my God.
He's only trending because Mitch Marner's agent talked to the media.
It can backfire, eh?
Oh,
this
yeah.
is my client's number, and now you have a chunk of the fan base going, fine, trade him.
Well, back to
the most beloved guy in this team right now.
Back to the CJ episode. You know, you said that. He has the chance here to be the most beloved NHL player. Maybe.
He is. He's currently the most beloved Leaf.
Maybe there's something afoot here. I just thought of it. Maybe Darren Ferris is going, let's put obnoxious numbers out there. So when he does inevitably sign for less, it'll make us look amazing.
Steve said that.
You know, that's what I mean, though. That's
You know who else looks amazing?
Steve Daddy.
Yeah, I think he's probably annoyed by this process, but also benefits from it. Kyle Dubas. Because if he signs Mitch Marner to a number below 10,
It's a win for everybody.
he looks like a hero now, too.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
This could be, for the wrestling fans out there, a work.
Let's do the press conference.
Presser. S.
I'd like to read to you, gentlemen.
Steve Dangle press
I don't have the
conference.
skills.
I would like to read to you, gentlemen, Adam Marlies and Steve Dangle, an interaction that happened at the NBA Finals press conference.
Okay.
Steph Curry took the podium. You know how championship press conferences can go. The Super Bowl, they're notorious for this. The funny media shows up, the non-sports media, and they ask questions. And they get ridiculous questions. Because when you get to the championship level in the four major sports, you get the regular people who start to take an interest in this. So the regular media showed up to talk to Steph Curry. And they asked him,
Can I stop you and say tomorrow I will be at NBA Finals Media Day?
people like Steve Dangle show up to media where they shouldn't be.
Literally me and Guillermo from the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Yeah, you know, the regulars.
The regular NBA beat reporters like Steve Dangle,
Eric Kareen, Eric Smith, all
Josh
the Erics.
Lewenberg.
Yeah, me, Guillermo. I'm going to be that guy thoroughly.
So today, hopefully you're not like this guy.
Uh-oh.
Someone asked Steph Curry, do you and Aisha, his wife, become like Canadian when you go there?
Oh, Jesus.
Meaning here. He said, what does that mean? We only wear denim and go to watch hockey and say, eh? She's got a strong Canadian accent. If you didn't know, his wife grew up in Canada.
Torontonian. Yeah, she's Torontonian.
Yeah, she's Torontonian. Yeah,
I didn't know that.
She's a year younger than us.
She's got a strong Canadian accent that comes back like that. He snapped. When she comes back, for sure. I'm always amazed when that happens. But other than that, no. They followed up. Do you get some fries with that stuff in it? Steph Curry responded, poutine? And they said, yeah, there you go. And he said, not really. They said, what kind of candy is that that's so good up there? Is it chocolate or hard candy? No, nothing chocolate for me. This is going off the rocker. Let's talk about basketball. They didn't name the media member who was asking these questions.
Probably for the best.
For the best, but
Just for their own safety.
that's a tough read.
If anyone wants to know what it's going to be like when mankind finally interacts with aliens, watch any American speak to Canadians for the first time.
It's amazing because there are guys that, like, especially with the Raptors being as good as they are, I've talked to Jesse about this a lot. They've had guys from, like, the TNT panel on Tim and Sid, and that you can tell that they're reaching to try to find a local event. They're like, well, like, I think they asked, I forget who it is, and the guy's a really good NBA analyst, but he's, like, trying to cater to a Canadian audience, and it's such a reach because he'll be like, well, they'll party like they do in Carabana. It'll be a big party.
We're so excited to be in Springfield.
Springton. Springton.
And you gotta go like, we know that you don't know us, right? We know that America is pretty inward, and at least, the media in America, they kind of just know America, and that's fine. Don't pretend. Like, we knew that, remember the MLB guy when the Jays finally made the playoffs? And he was like, and they're next, Toronto, next to the ocean. No, that would be Lake Ontario, not the ocean.
But did you know that they have turf in the building? And did you know that in the next inning they will also have turf? And in the inning after that they'll have turf.
And
holy shit!
And then it was like, and he said after they won a couple championships here a while ago, but nobody's really been back to the game until now. I'm like, 23 years I've been buying tickets, pal. I've been going to the Jays games even when they sucked. So
people just wandered. I thought they moved them to Ottawa.
Yeah, listen, I understand that there might be Americans listening to this podcast going, Americans know something about Canada. And you know,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, you know in your heart of hearts that you are not the normal American.
It's a good exercise. So now I'm nervous for NBA Finals Day.
That was Harold Reynolds, by the way. Remember back in 2015 when he was
so bad.
He was terrible. Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
Go ahead.
Except in the seventh inning, the famous seventh inning, I thought he was actually pretty good.
In the bat flip inning? Yeah.
At the biggest moment, he was great.
He just had some choice quotes that
you
weren't.
can only play with fire for so long. And it's going to burn you.
And he hit it over the turf and out.
He might as well.
Right out to the ocean.
That bat flip ended up on the turf. Anyway, sorry.
It's got me nervous because, like, the first things that come to mind are probably the things you should avoid. I should ask them hockey questions.
No.
Avoid. I should ask them Canadian questions. Avoid. You want to know why? Because I'm going to be in an ocean of people tomorrow asking Canada and hockey questions. Did you know it's the first time that the finals have been played in Canada? Shut up! Everyone's going to be asking that. Have one person ask it, let it be the first thing, and we're done.
Remember when CJ was here and he was talking about press conferences, and he's like, you only get like 8 questions, like with Dubas, and he's like, and someone's gonna ask a bad one, right? And he was talking about that, and
let it be the 8th.
It's always the local news person or whoever's not the regular people.
Oh, remember what we were saying about Charlie Coyle being guy? It's guy, even if it's girl, guy, girl, doesn't matter. Just put him there.
Listen. If you ask something funny and torpedo the whole thing, fine. Do it late.
Yeah,
sure. I know my place. I do not ask first.
Let the big guys. Let the big guys ask first.
Yeah,
like the ones who are on it all the time. Yeah. Big guys and girls, doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter the gender. It just matters if they cover the sport. Let them do it first.
Adam, setting up the play.
Sorry, setting up the play.
Setting up the play.
What?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Have you not seen that Jerome McGinley clip?
No.
A reporter just goes, setting up the play. And McGinley goes, what? I don't know. And she repeats herself, setting up the play. It's the most awkward clip I've ever seen.
I've never seen that.
It's so bad.
Is it?
It's really bad.
Hold on.
Are we playing this right now?
Let me see if I can find it.
Honestly, I think, the most uncomfortable I've ever been for a post-game scrum. And I don't know who this person is. Maybe they're great. But setting up the play.
What did you guys think of the end to the Marlies season?
Okay, so what happened for everyone who missed it?
Yes.
The puck was put out of play into the mesh, into the netting, over the Marlies net.
And this was in double overtime versus the Charlotte Checkers in game 6.
So the season is
I think
Eastern Conference
Are they
Final.
technically? Oh, okay, they're in the East, right? It's not.
Yes.
It's not
'Cause
really the
it's
West.
Not some weird
No, because the
AHL.
other team, they're in a weird division. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But the other two teams are Chicago and San Diego. Chicago advancing to the Calder Cup Final.
Yes.
So it was a crazy game, first of all. Marlies are down 2-0. Dmytro Timashov gets a penalty shot. He does the Kucherov no move between the legs with the
it's great.
season on the line in a playoff game and pulls it off. Marlies tied. I want to say they were even up in the game. Anyway, game goes to overtime. In double overtime, puck goes into the mesh. Ref doesn't notice. Play goes on. Marlies have a 3-on-2 the other way. It gets broken up. Puck goes back the other way. Charlotte scores. And the Marlies season is over, which I would say, man, you won the championship last year and you came within 6 wins
Of
the
it again.
next year. There's not a lot of teams that do that. That's very, very good. The Marlies have rarely had a bad season over the past decade. Conference final in 2016, the Calder Cup final in 2012. Nothing to be ashamed of. Now, a lot of people were really mad saying that, well, they got jobbed because the play should have been blown dead.
Now they didn't get jobbed, but it's a disappointing way to end a season.
Well, some people were saying, like, how are you not able to review that? Yada, yada, yada. It didn't lead to the goal, to me.
The difference between the puck touching the mesh
Yes.
and the goal going in real time is 7 seconds.
It's not
How-
the Panarin goal against Boston.
It's not
where
that
it fell
at all.
from the mesh and he scored.
Yes, it's not that at all.
It left the zone. The Marlies had an offensive opportunity,
But
it came back the other
that is a result of the puck hitting the mesh.
the Marlies getting the offensive opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that leads to the goal.
Well, everything affects everything if we're going to do that.
So how isn't it just, is it not disappointing if that's the timeline we're on, where it's just 7 seconds isn't a long time, Steve. If that's how the season
if they'll
ends.
rewind a play 35 seconds to call an offside.
It's
Why can we not be upset that this went out of play and 7 seconds later the season's over? How is that not egregious?
I believe me, I'm on this side all the time, so I'm trying to be less on that side all the time. You know what I mean? On the refs are bad and replays and all that. It is both a bad way to end your season, and you can't really blame the end of the Marley season on that at the same time, I think. I don't think... Listen, they weren't scored on, in my opinion, because of that goal.
Sure.
They weren't scored on because of the puck going out.
No, because that
But the play
doesn't
should have
make
been dead.
sense.
The play...
The puck didn't bounce off the mesh and go into the net.
Play should have been
Now
dead.
imagine though, okay. Imagine on that 3-on-2, Marlies score.
That's
Force game 7,
also
win the series.
That's also ridiculous.
To me, that's worse because the puck came down. Listen, that puck gets blown dead. Who knows what happens? Marlies win the faceoff in their own zone and they manage to clear it. Or Charlotte wins that faceoff and they score right there.
Yeah.
So to me, Charlotte would have a much bigger reason to complain than the Marlies. Whereas the Marlies, they left their own zone. And then they just left their own zone unprotected. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4. Get back! The play's continuing. Focus. I don't know.
There's also 3 guys hanging out. There are 4 guys hanging out. No, I guess 3. 3 guys hanging out on the Checkers blue line because they're all pointing to the mesh. And you have everybody back in their own zone because they're like, oh, I thought the play was dead. And then the puck comes back to them and they're like, oh, we're already here because we thought it was over. Looks like we just go to the net and score.
But they played to the whistle, right?
They didn't. They stopped and pointed to the mesh.
Well, even worse then. They stopped what they were doing and the Marlies weren't able to take advantage?
Yeah, no, but the whole situation is because the puck went into the mesh. Yeah. All I'm saying is they got on a timeline where it resulted in a goal and into their net and ended their season, which is disappointing.
It is disappointing, for sure. But it's also difficult to complain about at the same time.
Bingo.
It's just shitty.
Yeah.
It's just really shitty.
It's shitty.
What's amazing?
And why aren't you reviewing that?
They are okay. So what I said in my video today was because someone asked a question about the NHL having more review, and I think Gary Bettman said something recently about expanding video review. What's been amazing to me is during the NBA playoffs, something happens, the players go like this, they review it, it takes 60 seconds.
Yeah, and who cares?
Usually.
Yeah,
And then they get it right.
Yeah,
And that's it.
Yeah.
How long does it take to review something like that?
you could argue that the Raptors won an entire game because they were able to review the ball. Who was it? Brogdon's leg, Malcolm Brogdon's leg.
The out of bounds.
Yeah, they won Game 7 because of video replay.
Yes.
because that was Milwaukee's ball, and
Game
then they
6.
go and they
get it done.
Game 6, sorry.
Quickly.
Yeah,
And
It doesn't take a fucking commercial
so-
break. The NBA just gets
And
it
there's
done.
no penalty if you get it wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the Marlies season is they lost their season's over because video replay because the refs missed a call. I'm saying I'm disappointed that again, like with Vegas, like with St. Louis, or like with San Jose, again, we're talking about a game and friggin' a missed call.
Yeah.
And
What is it with hockey that every time there's a big moment, it seems like there's a damn video replay?
I feel like it's so much worse this season, but maybe it's just inevitable that it was going to be this way, because I feel like I diminished my own opinion by focusing too hard on the Bruins a few weeks ago. This season has been soul crushing as a hockey fan. Forget as a Leafs fan. Forget all that. Soul crushing. It makes the results of games mean less. It does. The whole Vegas run, and I know we talked about they shouldn't have allowed 4. Fine.
I just go hard on it because it's fun.
I know, it's super fun.
Yeah. But it's ridiculous that the video replay is the result of the game, you know?
The
it affects the
Colorado
result of the game.
The Colorado one.
Yeah.
So bad. So stupid. And it's just you take those things back, but then like the puck in the mesh you can't review. It's unreviewed. There was one this year. It was Leafs versus I can't remember. But they reviewed it for a high stick. And the high stick was reviewable. But I want to say the player was Zach Hyman, was also clearly committing a penalty in the video footage.
And you can't change that.
But as an official, it's like you got to watch the play with one eye. We go, okay, in my left eye, I can see the high stick because that's what I'm looking for. But I'm supposed to ignore that other thing. It's stupid. I've been watching the NBA play out, and believe me, foul calls I have no clue on, and that's been super frustrating. But I just watch how they handle review, and I'm like, oh my God, is this not the way it should be? It's so good.
It is the way it should be. The NHL cannot get out of its own way with that.
For offsides, cap it at 60 seconds.
60. 15
Cap
seconds.
it. I'll give them all the time in the world for 60.
Yeah.
60. Watch it 4 times if you need.
No.
60 seconds,
No.
and if you cannot overturn the call on the ice, frig off.
I think take it out. Because here's what I saw.
Colorado would have tied the game with that rule.
In the Leafs-Bruins series, there were times where the Leafs came in offside, and I saw it, and I'm like, sure hope they don't score here.
Yes. It's
I was cheering
changed how I
against
watch.
the Leafs.
It's changed how I watch.
Take it out.
It's like
Take it out. You fucking missed it. You fucking missed it. Too bad. Too bad.
And put a time limit on it.
Do you guys?
No, too bad. If humans are going to ref the game, then there will be human error. If I have to accept the Marlies result and go, oh, that sucks, it's shitty, 7 seconds later they scored, they should have kept playing, then fuck this with the offside thing. It's pointless. What does it do? What do we really gain out of that?
We changed the entire damn sport because a ref fell asleep one night.
With
This rule was supposed to be for Matt Duchene, who was like 10 feet offside. And how many goals did we see called back in a sport dying for more goals? How many goals did we see called back because of a matter of inches, millimeters?
I would rather see the Leafs go down in a game where somebody was offside and they can't review it than this. I'm not even kidding. I would rather just be like, you know what? human error. I can I can resolve that in my head. But having this halfway,
He's
we're going
off
to
by
dip our
an inch
toe
or
in.
two.
Only this play's reviewable. This play's not reviewable. And then, we're going to review this and give this player a penalty because we saw it on the review.
And then if there's 6 guys on
Give me
the
a
ice,
break.
but one is offside, he's offside, but it's not too many men. And it's like, but you can review that, but you can't review the other thing.
So we can't-
When you're not using common sense, because that player who is on the ice is not on the ice.
That's the thing. It's common sense.
Common sense that he's not part of the play. If your hand is on the inside of the door, that should be like the safe zone in tag.
Well, this is why we said the lacrosse zone. The lacrosse step-in zone.
It's going to be a great sport one day, folks.
I'm just telling you. Like, it's
going to be so good.
The offside thing I hate.
I'm learning how to skate now because I know it's going to be great later. It's not great now, but that's why I'm learning. It's going to be great.
Should we wrap it up?
Sure.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys, for a great show. It's a lot of fun hanging out. And we will get back. We'll tweet out when the next show will be. We don't know yet. It'll be sometime later this week.
Yeah.
Boom. All right?
Bradford, June 8th. Scarborough, June 14th. And Vaughan, June 15th. Oh, yeah. So, sorry, I should say, Scarborough, June 14th, we're doing, they want to call it a live podcast, but I will not because you won't be there.
Well, maybe. Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe?
Maybe. Yeah,
Jesse
who
will
knows?
be there because otherwise
Maybe.
I won't. No, dude, I don't know how to work this stuff.
Oh, maybe. We'll see. See how it goes. Jim doing that night.
You're a jerk.
Well, video replay that.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.